In the last month alone, I've made over 10,000 ads. Not watched them, not analyzed them from the sidelines, actually tested them, and seen the data on what converts and what doesn't in this current phase of Facebook ads. Because of this, I've been able to spot patterns that most operators ignore, what hooks are actually stopping scroll, what formats are converting, and what everyone thinks works versus what actually works when you look at the numbers. So in this video, I'm gonna break down exactly what's working in 2026, the hooks, the formats, and the creative angles that are driving real results today based on actual data, so you can take what's already proven to scale your ads profitably and run with it. Let's dive in. Ad creative in 2026 is a completely different game than it was before Andromeda was fully rolled out. Attention spans are shorter, the platform is smarter, and the type of ads that used to work are either dead or slowly dying. I'm seeing it every single day in the data. The reason this is happening is that the algorithm now genuinely understands the buyer journey, not approximately, actually understands it. It knows who's already seen the brand, who's actively looking for a solution like yours, who's never been in your category, and that changes how you need to build your creative portfolio from the ground up. You can't just make one ad and throw it at everyone and hope that targeting figures it out. The time is over. I covered all of this in detail in my Andromeda series. If you haven't watched it, go watch it after this video. That said, let's get into the actual patterns, starting with the best performing hooks. Hooks are where most ads live or die. Lose someone in the first 2 seconds and the rest doesn't matter. So here's what's actually working right now. The first hook is what we call AI said it.
All right, you beautiful ball. Listen what the hell is DHT? It's a hormone that turns your goddamn hair follicles into little. This little shrinks them down until they can't grow a single strand. That's right, your own body is sabotaging your beautiful head of hair, and then you idiots go and get a hair transplant thinking you've solved the problem. Surprise, you didn't kill the root cause, so that expensive new hair is just gonna fall the out again.
I'll be honest, this one makes me a little uncomfortable, but I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't mention it, because it works and you're going to start seeing it everywhere if you haven't already. What's happening is Meta has gotten significantly looser about what it approves, especially when content comes from AI. Things that were a hard no a year or two ago are now getting through relatively clean. Explicit language, taboo topics, stuff that would have been flagged immediately before, and this works particularly well in sensitive categories like hair loss, ED, sexual wellness, and so on. The way I see this hook is that AI almost takes the responsibility for saying the uncomfortable thing. That's literally why we call it AI said it. He said it, not me, so blame AI. What performs best here is slang and humor. The more it sounds like a blunt friend being honest with you rather than a brand trying to sell you something, the better it works. The results on this format are not subtle. So use it carefully, know your platform policies, but we cannot pretend this doesn't exist. Hook number 2 is what we call Meet Mark.
Meet Mark. He wants to lose weight, but everything he finds is way too expensive. And this is James. He's getting the lowest priced medical weight loss treatment in the UK, and his results couldn't be better. What's the difference?
This one is friendly for any category, which is rare. It works because it has built-in storytelling and it's relatable in a way that doesn't feel manufactured. Mark is just the name we give to our avatar, the before person. You describe his situation, his pain, and what he's already tried that hasn't worked. Then you immediately introduce James. James is the after, and the only difference between Mark and James is that James figured it out and it found your product. The ad basically asks, why is James winning and Mark isn't? And then answers it introducing the product. You want Mark to look exactly like the person who's watching the ad. Relatability here makes it or breaks it. Same situation, same frustration, same dead ends. The more specific you make that, the harder it hits. Hook number 3 is the AI explainer.
When you shave a hair, you expect it to grow back normally. But occasionally, as the hair grows, it will actually curl back into the skin. This leads to what's known as an ingrown hair. Now, most people think you're just supposed to pluck these out, but that will actually just irritate the area more. If possible, you should guide the tip of the hair in the right direction so it continues to grow correctly.
This isn't new. We used to spend serious money getting this kind of explainer videos made. Medical grade animation, motion graphics, the whole production. It worked then, it works now, except that now you can do it with AI at a fraction of the time and a fraction of the cost. What's performing well specifically is pairing the AI animation with an avatar that reacts to it in real time. For anything that's health related, anything where there's a unique mechanism that you need to explain, that combination grabs attention fast. The viewer sees something moving and someone reacting to it, and they tend to stay to figure out what's happening and what's the opinion of the avatar itself. As a practical note, I would recommend you start with an AI avatar before you shoot with a real person. You test the concept first, then if it converts, you bring the human. It will usually push performance further, but you don't want to spend money on production until you know the format actually works for your specific product. Let's talk about winning formats. Hooks get you the click, but then the format has to convert. And since Andromeda, what we're seeing is more creative diversity actually matters. Different formats for different points in the buyer journey, not just one approach for everyone. One thing worth mentioning, shorter single-person ads with no CTA are working in a way that I had never seen before. One person, a roll, maybe some B-roll if it's relevant to that specific ad, and it just ends. No pitch, no offer. That's completely new to me. And now some of our best performers are just like that. It works because now Andromeda can deliver that ad to people who already know your brand and just need a little push. So here are 3 single person formats that are absolutely printing right now. The first format is the logbook.
I almost fell on my face the first week. Now I'm weirdly addicted to this thing. I gave myself 3 weeks, 5 minutes a day, no expectations. By week 3, I felt like a completely different person. Week 1, I wobbled a lot, but even just standing on the board made me realize how off my balance actually was. Week 2, my back stopped hurting. Turns out I had a weak core and this tiny board was firing muscles I didn't even know existed. Week 3, I felt unstoppable. I was sleeping better, had more energy, and honestly, I just felt lighter, physically and mentally.
The logbook documents the journey, before, during, after, week by week if the product needs it. You're showing the viewer exactly what their experience is going to look like once they buy, which is incredibly valuable for products that take time to show results or that require any time of learning curve or habit change. It's also the right format for the last mile of the buyer journey. Someone who's already seen your product multiple times, knows what you do, just hasn't pulled the trigger yet, the logbook gives them the realistic timeline and the social proof to finally commit. And again, you don't necessarily need a CTA in this specific format. Andromeda will find those people on its own if you give it the right creative. The second single-person format is the confessional.
Does anyone else feel like the week after Christmas ages you like 5 years? Like I had fun, but at what cost? My skin is tired, it's uneven, it's exhausted, and honestly, so am I.
This one is the epitome of relatability. The confessional tone builds trust almost automatically because it doesn't feel like an ad. You're almost whispering to the viewer. It's like talking to a friend. The structure is very simple. You're sharing something. You're not selling anything. Hey, you've noticed my skin looks different lately, right? This is how I'm doing it. Look, this is what I use, here's how I use it. The product shows up, but almost as an afterthought. You're pairing it with the result, connecting product to outcome, rather than leading with the product. This is short, warm, personal, and that's the whole thing. The third format is the Epiphany.
I can't believe I just realized how much guys are paying for basic t-shirts, and honestly, it just makes no sense. Most of what we wear every single day is just basics, so that's where quality actually matters. That's why I've stuck with True Classic. The fit, it just works. The fabric, it feels great, and it doesn't feel like you're paying for a logo. And right now, a lot of their basics are on clearance, which makes it the perfect time to try them. There's a huge range of styles and colors available, but we all know that sizes and favorites don't hang around for long. So if you know you've been thinking about it, now's the right time.
Similar energy to the confessional, but with more intent behind it. Here you actually want to sell. You're comfortable making a pitch, calling out the competition, announcing a promotion. If your product has a clear and strong positioning angle, a real reason why it's different from everything else in the market, this is where you make that case. In this specific format, you end with a CTA. You want to use this format for new promotions or limited offers, and the energy has already urgency built into it, so it matches that moment naturally. Those are the one-person formats. And there are 3 more formats that are worth testing that I want to talk to you about. The first one is what we call breaking news with AI.
I'm live on the scene where a golden retriever's breath has forced the evacuation of an entire living room. Witnesses describe it as absolutely devastating.
I experienced the whole thing. He yawned right in my face. I smelled the smell. I saw the plaque. I'll never be the same again.
Joining us now with a solution ProBright Advanced. Tell us, how do we stop this crisis? Simple. 1 scoop on food. My probiotics target the bacteria behind the breath and tartar. No brushing, no evacuations, just results.
This is entirely AI generated. The concept over-exaggerates the problem to a degree you could never pull off with a real photographer and real actors. Something that makes the problem feel urgent, almost absurd. The AI does the heavy lifting on visuals. Where most brands get this wrong is the product placement. They'll build out this elaborate AI animation for the problem, then cut to a regular product photo, and the tonal whiplash kills the whole thing. The brands doing this well are recreating an animated version of the product that lives inside the same visual world they built. It's consistent style, smooth transition, that's what makes it work. This works incredibly well for any emotional angle, for older audiences, and for products with a serious problem to solve. The more weight the problem carries, the harder this format can hit. The next one is the sales letter. This is not a video, this is a static image. And the image is designed to be ugly, intentionally, by design. Think of the kind of photo your dad can take. Bad framing, no filter, completely ordinary scene, something the viewer has seen 100 times in their own kitchen or living room. The ugly photo does one job. It stops the scroll, looks like organic content, and moves the eye up to the text. And the text is where everything actually happens. Old school, aggressive, direct response copy, long, written like a sales letter. Not everybody is going to read the whole thing, but those who do will be very likely to take action. The visual signals this isn't an ad, and the copy closes it. Finally, we have in-feed VSL.
When your dog's back legs start giving out, here's what your vet isn't telling you about what's actually happening inside their body. It happened on a Tuesday morning. Bella was coming down the stairs when her back legs just gave out. She looked up at me confused, almost embarrassed. I called the vet immediately. Sounds like arthritis. Pretty normal for her age. Try some joint supplements. So I bought the glucosamine chews, the hip and joint formulas. Spent hundreds of dollars. Nothing really changed. The stairs were still hard. Getting into the car became a struggle. And then I'd catch her just staring at walls like she was lost.
We consider VSLs ads that last 2 minutes 30 seconds and more. This is great for discovery, especially in a saturated niche where 4 other brands are doing the same exact thing you're doing. The VSL still converts. Your hold rate will be low, most people will drop off, but the ones who make it through are genuinely interested, which means that the conversion rate tends to be very solid. Use it for emotional angles and older audiences, products with a real story to tell. Don't use it as your default. Use it specifically for cold discovery. So we went through what is working, let's now talk about what to stop. 3 things I'd pull back on right now. The first one is stacking proof. I remember ads where we had 10 different people back to back all raving about the same product. More testimonials, more trust, that was the logic. What we're seeing now is that this format is showing serious diminishing returns. The better move would be taking those 10 people and making 10 separate ads, 1 person per ad. You get more creative diversity, better targeting signal for the algorithm, and each ad can be matched to the right person at the right moment. The second one is heavy agitation. PAS, problem agitate solution, still works, but the ratio has shifted. The biggest winners across our portfolio right now are running roughly 4-to-1 in favor of benefits over pain scenes. We used to spend a lot of time in the agitation phase really hammering how bad the problem was, but people are more skeptical now, more fatigued from bad products, more used to ads that overpromise and underdeliver. So if you linger for too long on the problem, they leave. Get to the mechanism and benefit faster and spend more time explaining why your product is different from everything else they tried already. Number 3 is longer ads as the default. There's still a place for longer formats. In fact, I just covered the in-feed VSL, but if your default is 60 seconds plus, you're running against what the data is showing. The sweet spot right now is shorter than that. Context matters, level of awareness changes what format makes sense, but if you haven't properly tested sub 30-second ads, that's where I would start. Now, what to do with all of this? If you're running ads in 2026, the platform is smarter than it's ever been. It understands where someone is in the buying journey and it will match them to the right creative if you give it enough variety to learn from. So the move isn't to find the one perfect ad. The move is to build a creative ecosystem for different levels of awareness and let the algorithm do the matching. Winning creative teams right now aren't making better ads, they're building more intentional creative ecosystem. I genuinely think we are standing right in front of the golden era of e-commerce. The brands that understand how to help the algorithm learn, that build for it intentionally, are going to print. It's not complicated, but it does require the real system behind it. If you want to see exactly how we're building that system for the brands we work with, click the link below and book a call. I'm happy to take a look and see if it makes sense to work together. But knowing what works and actually being able to execute it consistently, those are two very different things. So click this video here because I go through everything you need to know about creating high converting ad creatives right now. Literally everything. It's a 5-hour free course that you get access to right away when you click the link above. I'll see you there.